All right, let's dive right into a clinical detective story that's every parent's worst nightmare. We're in the emergency room. A toddler who was perfectly healthy just days ago suddenly can't walk. And you know what? The clock is absolutely ticking. So picture this. You're the clinician on call. A 3-year-old boy's parents rush in, and they are terrified. Yesterday, he was running around like any other kid. Today, he can barely stand up without falling over, and his speech is all slurred. The pressure is on you. Your next decision is absolutely critical. So what do you do? Okay, first things first, we need to look at the clues, and they start with the timeline of his symptoms. Wow, okay, this happened fast. It all kicked off with what seemed like a simple cold. Then, just 2 days later, a rash pops up all over his body. And then, bam, the very next day, the neurological stuff hits. He's stumbling, he can't talk right. This rapid-fire progression, that's our first huge clue. That timeline, it's already pointing us toward a pretty big suspect. The way he's moving, the trouble with his speech, it's practically screaming acute cerebellar ataxia. All that means is there's a problem with his cerebellum. Think of the cerebellum as the brain's control center for coordination and balance. Right now, his is on the fritz. So when doctors suspect this, they look for a classic set of signs. There's even a handy mnemonic for it: Danish. The D is for dysdiadochokinesia. That's a mouthful. It just means trouble with fast alternating movements. Our little guy clearly has the A for ataxic gait and the S for slurring speech. He's already ticking off a bunch of these boxes. And then there's the final piece of the puzzle, that rash from day 3. It's a textbook sign of chickenpox. And guess what? Chickenpox is a known cause of cerebellitis, which is just inflammation of the cerebellum. The timeline, the symptoms, the rash, it all fits perfectly. We have our likely diagnosis. But here's the thing about medicine. Likely is never good enough. And that brings us to this critical crossroads. We've got 5 urgent choices on the table. So what's the move? Do we rush him for an urgent brain scan? Do we pump him full of antivirals like acyclovir? What about antibiotics or steroids? Or maybe we need an EEG to see if he's having seizures. Every single one of these choices takes the team down a completely different and potentially life-altering path. To get to the right answer, we're not just going to charge ahead with our number 1 suspect. No, we're going to get there through a careful, methodical process of elimination. Let's just walk through these. IV acyclovir, that's for herpes encephalitis. And this rash doesn't look like herpes, so that's out. IV antibiotics, the whole history points to a virus, not bacteria. No need for those. Steroids? Nope, not indicated here. And an EEG? Well, his main problems are balance and speech, not seizures, so the EEG can wait. And that leaves us with just one urgent, non-negotiable next step. So after all that, what is the single best move you can make? An urgent MRI brain scan. This is the one. And listen, here's the crucial part. The goal isn't to confirm what we already think we know. It's to rule out the things we absolutely cannot afford to miss. See, the MRI is essential because these exact same symptoms could be caused by something way more sinister. You have to rule out the life-threatening stuff: a brain tumor, an abscess, a bleed in the brain. Post-viral cerebellitis might be the most likely diagnosis, sure, but it's what we call a diagnosis of exclusion. That means you can only truly accept it after you've proven those other killers aren't in play. So what's the fundamental lesson here? Because this goes way beyond just this one case. It really boils down to this single, incredibly powerful principle. When a child's brain is involved, you do not play the odds. Your number 1 job is to hunt down the absolute worst-case scenarios and prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that they aren't happening. Only then can you safely treat the most probable cause. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? In any high-stakes situation, what's the smarter path? Is it to chase after what you think is right, or is it to systematically eliminate every possible disaster first? It's a question about safety and strategy that really goes far beyond the hospital walls. Thanks for digging into this one with me.